Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show.
Welcome to Consulting Leaders Podcast, a place where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your own practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, John Degnan. Join me as we talk with the best consultants in their niche. We have one today featuring Adam Lawrence of Process Improvement Partners. He's a lean transformation expert and creator of the Wheel of Sustainability, helping organizations turn process improvement into lasting results. With decades of experience and millions in measurable impact, he works hands-on with teams to eliminate waste and build systems that stick. Welcome, Adam.
Well, thank you, John. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Well, first off, are you a basketball fan?
Am I a basketball fan? Somewhat. My home team is so bad for so many years, but generally, yeah, college basketball more than pro.
Because I read that you're a Michigan Wolverine.
Okay, so I'm not.
Oh.
I'm a Virginia Tech Hokie.
Okay.
But I got a lean certification at the University of Michigan.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking you were all excited about Michigan winning the championship.
No, the closest thing we are is my wife is a big UNC Tar Heel fan since she was a small child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Well,
tell us more about yourself.
All right, born and raised in Maryland, went to school at Virginia Tech, so go Hokies. Started my corporate journey in North Carolina at Thomasville Furniture. I was a manufacturing industrial engineer. The wonderful thing about that was that I met my wife there, and we have been together for just over 35 years now. And
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And I've moved that poor woman all around the country in my corporate career, and we are now settled in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I run my small business Process Improvement Partners right out of my home, and then all my work is on site with my clients.
So you're Thomasville Furniture, you're moving around the country. What got you into consulting initially?
Okay, so I'd always thought I wanted to be a consultant, mostly at retirement. I just loved helping teams solve problems all over the world. So Thomasville Furniture was owned by Armstrong World Industries at the time. And so I moved throughout the world with Armstrong, excuse me, and just loved being able to help teams solve problems that they were stuck with. And I always wanted to be a consultant. In 2018, I took the leap after a 29-year corporate career and went out on my own. And what I've really loved about it is the ability to help people in all industries, in all parts of their journey, solving problems they never thought were possible to solve. And I get to design the approach using my approach, which is kind of tailored. It's kind of lean oriented, but I try to make it as fun and engaging and as impactful as possible.
You created the Wheel of Sustainability. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Absolutely. So a problem that I was finding out was people were solving problems, putting tremendous effort into it, but the solutions weren't sticking. And what I realized was this was a leadership process that I could do something about, because I had made many mistakes in my career, not realizing that I was the reason that we weren't sustaining solutions. So the Wheel of Sustainability is an architecture that really defines all the elements needed to be put in place to sustain gains. So during the pandemic, I wasn't on site for about 9 months, earning any revenue. So I said, well, if you're ever going to write a book, here's the time to do it. So I did. And the goal was to teach more people to be able to use this structure and system to sustain the hard-earned gains that they achieve.
And you're a big fan of the Kaizen. Is that how I pronounce it correctly, Kaizen?
That's pretty good. Kaizen. Think Zen. Zen is good. Zan is actually bad. I was scolded in Japanese once for pronouncing it incorrectly. I am not a scolder, although some of my teams might say otherwise. So what is Kaizen? Kaizen is a Japanese term that means change for the good or make things better. So in some of the Japanese companies, Kaizen happens naturally. Everybody gets involved in making things better anytime, anywhere. In more of our United States companies, it has to be an event. So a very focused effort with a small team solving a very critical business problem. And I help them do that in less than a week. 4.5 days is typically the maximum. And by the end of the week, we've not only solved the problem, we've implemented the solution and put the wheel sustainability architecture around the change so that it never goes back to the way it was.
Can you give me an example of an event, a case study?
Absolutely. So I was helping a team in Claremont, North Carolina, with a reliability issue on their manufacturing line. And we had a team of hourly operators. We had some maintenance operators, and then we had a few engineers and managers as part of the team. So there were probably 8 or 9 people. And so I was teaching them a reliability technique. On the first day, we actually stopped the line, locked it out very safely, and we were demonstrating the technique of how to level, square, and align all of the equipment. And we ran a string 150 feet from one point to the end of the line. And then we started moving things and leveling them out later in the first day. Shut the line off that night, finished the work the next morning, and by that afternoon, they were setting production records. So just to add a little bit to that. So efficiency is measured from 0 to 100%. 100 means you didn't lose anything for defects, you never lost speed, you never shut the line down. They had been running about 52% efficiency. By the end of the week, they were running 75%, which they had never seen. A gentleman that was on my team, a big, loud, hourly operator that was extremely skeptical early in the week, came up to me, grabbed my shoulder and said, "Adam, you screwed up. You gave me hope." And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to engage people and teach them ways to improve things that they are not afraid of, that they can do, and it will actually help them rather than the management or the shareholders. It does help management and shareholders, by the way, but the reality is, let's solve the problems that the people that do the work on the front lines deal with every single day, and then let's keep it that way. So now this gentleman took ownership of the line, and he will not allow it to go back to the way it used to be.
Great.
Yeah.
Kaizen ninjas. What is that all about?
Okay. So I like to have some fun as I do my work. So the image of a ninja is in feudal Japan, right? Things would get done in the cover of night. Not always the most positive things, but like, how did that happen? All of a sudden, the warlord is gone, or whatever. So my goal when I facilitate these Kaizen events, I teach them a methodology in such a way that they can use it. And by the end of the week, I want it to look like I wasn't even there. Because if you truly want to sustain change, the team that's going to implement it has to own it. If the consultant told us to do something, right, and then that person goes away, then that's the consultant's idea. That's the consultant change. But if we want to do it, just like the gentleman I explained to you, then that is the gold standard. So the ninja image, I have a lot of fun with it. If you look behind me, there's actually a stress ninja. I give it to all my team members. I love giving out stuff. It's just so much fun. So, but again, the idea is I wasn't there. The less it looks like I was there, the better the team does. The stronger the win, the better the ownership, the better chance that they'll sustain it. So again, just have some fun with it as well.
That's great. What specific problem are you solving for your clients when it comes to process improvement?
Yeah, so, companies don't really have trouble solving problems. What they do have trouble with is sustaining the solution, right? So what I'm doing is I'm teaching them a method and an approach that they can take on themselves. I've actually done training where I kind of train the trainer, and the Kaizen Ninja Institute is the thing I called it, right? But the idea is, they can run the great events and they can get the great solutions, but then attention fades. Well, by putting in this wheel of sustainability framework, right, and creating ownership from the inside, the problem I'm solving is they're sustaining the solution rather than trying to solve the same problem over and over and over again, which we see very often, not just in manufacturing. I've helped service industries, I've helped distribution, I've helped IT groups. And what you find out is they just lose the focus after the event is over. My system keeps it structured so that they can't lose it. And I wouldn't say it's 100% successful, but where they take it seriously and I've set the leadership team up properly ahead of time, it holds. And usually a year or two later, if I get the opportunity to visit, I'll see that it looks even better than when we left it.
That's great. That's awesome. Who are your ideal clients today?
Yeah, so I typically work with manufacturing organizations, and they're under pressure, right? They always have a budget and they always need to do better and they have to improve productivity or safety or delivery or lead time or cost and all that good stuff. So there's usually a continuous improvement effort in place. And so what I come in as support for that, but I've also been the first person in for a couple of companies that I've helped. I've helped companies who have not even begun their continuous improvement journey to companies that have done it for 15 to 18 years. And so I'm a supplement, I'm an accelerant, right? And so I love to do it for manufacturing. That's about 80% of where I play, but I've been able to apply it to back office and IT and all these other things. But I would say the sweet spot, manufacturing organizations with at least 10 million in revenue, 50 employees, and just want to grow, want to scale, want to improve employee engagement, safety, quality, cost, all those good things.
How do clients typically find you, and what has worked best for you to build authority in the lean and process improvement space?
Yeah, so I've been strengthening my networks over the years, and I get a lot of referrals, and I get a lot of recommendations, and we build relationships. But I've also been fortunate enough to speak at conferences and do webinars and podcasts and all that kind of good stuff. So mostly it's that word of mouth piece that, hey, we were able to do something we thought was not possible. And I have a referral program where, like, hey, we're here to help people. Do you know anybody else that needs help? Here is a structure of how to get in touch with me and, how I can help and what's really required to have an engagement with me. The book helps. Clearly, a few prospects came to me because they had read the book or had heard of the book. They liked the approach. It seemed not scary. Again, it should be inclusive to anybody. Hey, if you want to fix your kitchen and make it more efficient, you can use my book and it'll show you about 3 things you can do. Why? Because my wife used it on me once, to say, hey, this is my toolbox. I've got it organized to help me. You go organize your own toolbox. So I know it can fit in business as well as personal type work.
Okay. You've been featured on podcasts like Gemba Academy. How do you see podcasting as a marketing tool for consultants in your space?
Well, I think podcasts are great. I mean, it's a way to get your voice out into the community. People get the opportunity to not just hear about you or read about you, but kind of get the vibe, what does he really care about? How does he sound? What you're hearing in this recording is the same Adam as you would get anywhere else. It's so much easier just to be yourself when you're trying to get out into that community and do business, because what you see is what you get. You'll know, there's no real surprises. Now, those that know me really well know that I can be extremely pushy at the right point. As a change agent, you're trying to push a team beyond anything they've ever done. So those that know me and have worked with me multiple times, they'll say, okay, we need about 40% Adam for this engagement. This next one, we might need 80, or we have a whole group of skeptical people. So you're going to have to either dial it up or dial it back. And I say, okay, they know me well enough to know and how far they really want to drive their team. Are we really going for breakthrough, or are we going for incremental change? I love breakthrough change, but that can be mentally and physically exhausting, especially for the consultant facilitator who's trying to drive it to the point that the team owns it rather than say, you must do this. I'm not a you must do this kind of person. Here's why, let me show you. And I'll turn the wrenches with them. I've done all of these things with my teams, shoulder to shoulder. I love, I will not drive their forklifts. That's about my only thing I won't do. And they're glad that I'm not willing to do that. But I've been taken up in order pickers 45 feet in the air on a platform, strapped me in and said, hey, are you afraid of heights? I said, we're 45 feet in the air, man. It's a little late to be asking that now. But they know I'll try the adventure of it, and showing people that you have enough respect for them that you're willing to do what they do every day. So when we were stringing the line in my early story, I was with the mechanics and I showed them exactly, here's how we tie this off. Here's how we pull it. And I'm doing it with them. I brought my laser alignment tool out with me. So there's always that skepticism. This guy comes in, he's the consultant, he doesn't know anything. I'm up on their equipment doing it with them, and they're like, oh, okay, maybe he does know something.
So you're not just a suit, you're rolling up your sleeves and you get your hands dirty.
Absolutely. This goes back to respect for people. So that's one of the underlying principles that Toyota Production System and Lean and all those continuous improvement things happen with. If you're unwilling to participate, I don't believe that you're really showing the proper respect for people that they deserve. I mean, I am not going to run their operating lines for them. I have. There's an example where a team was trying to figure out why furniture was getting damaged at the customer site. And so we came up with a bunch of different experiments. And two of these really large delivery drivers, if you imagine delivery drivers that take 300-pound furniture into your home, they're usually not small. And it's just true. They're strong. And, they have to do a lot of moving through the day. Well, we came up with a technique. They did, really. I'm a ninja. I didn't do anything. I just happened to be there and look pretty. So we were experimenting with the technique, trying to get large furniture through a doorway. So two of the drivers said, okay, we think we've got it now. Can you try it? And I said, sure. You got to show me how to do this. So there was a 250-pound sofa on a furniture dolly. And, they showed me how to put it at the proper angle and put my weight up against. I'm about 160 pounds soaking wet. So I'm not the 5'6 and a half, not the biggest guy. These guys are like a full head above me, right? And they showed me how to do it. And all of a sudden I was seeing the improvement from their perspective.
Interesting.
Right? And that's respect for people. No, you guys just show me you can do it. You make it look easy. No. Show me the way to do it so that now I know that we can teach everybody else. If you can teach Adam how to do it, you can teach anybody how to do it, right? So I'm very willing to do that. That is part of my approach. That is part of what keeps the loyalty with me, because they know I'm not just telling them what to do. I'm part of their team. I'm trying to help them achieve something they've never achieved.
True compassion.
Yeah.
Good.
It's just fun too, by the way.
Yeah.
I smile thinking of those stories of the guy telling me I screwed up because I gave him hope. I can picture the guy. He was like the most skeptical person at the beginning of the week, and here we are, and now he's taking full ownership of it and having fun with it. That's awesome. That's really the key. If they have fun, they'll get more done.
It's very rewarding for you as well, I'm sure.
It is. It really is.
When you're selling transformation work that requires deep involvement, how do you build trust and move clients from interest to commitment?
Right. Well, that's great. Great question. And I appreciate that. So, I have my sales process, but basically what I'm trying to do is give them an image of what's possible. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to that prospect and understand what's really the pain that they're dealing with. So they're not meeting budget. They have safety risk, quality risk. It takes too long to do something. It's too difficult, et cetera. And I'll start asking questions, and I want to see if my approach actually fits and could help them. If it does, and I'd like to think 85% of the time or more it does, but they don't always agree with that. Okay, the next step is to visit. So where I'm going to spend a day at their location and really get to know their process and their people and their leadership. what I need to know is that leadership is ready to take on this sustainability structure and framework, right? That they're willing to support the work. So I'm giving them an image of what the work could be, who might help, and then how we prepare them and the team in advance of the event so that they have the best chance to win. Okay. At that point, if there's still good alignment, I'll give them a proposal for that event or quantity of events, and then we go do it. Now, 4 to 6 weeks before we do an event, I am preparing them. Here's how you get your team. Here's how we write the good problem statement. Here's how we structure the objectives. Here's how you decide who the leader should be. Here's how you should engage on the first day. Here's how the report out will be. So they're getting an image of that so they can say, can I commit to that? If they can, that's fantastic. We're good. We're aligned. We're ready to rock and roll. If they can't, we're probably not going to move forward. Either they fire me or I fire them. We're going to make sure that they're ready. I have to prepare them in advance to win. I could run their event an hour from when they've told me about it. They won't be ready. So I'm preparing them because I'm going to leave. I want whatever we work on to live on. Whatever improvements we make have to live on. So I have to get them prepared. And by the way, getting people organized, when the Kaizen event occurs, my team is 100% committed during that event. They work on nothing else, unless it's a family issue or a safety issue. So even getting that level of commitment is really important. So I've got standard work and standard operating procedures to get everything prepared. Here's the supplies you need. Here's how we feed the team. We're going to have a team dinner. We're going to have a happy hour when it's over. Here's the report. So I've done this so much. I've done about 400 of these over 35 plus years of running these events, that I've tried to strip out all the excess and just get it down to the most beneficial pieces, and then just share it so they know exactly what's expected of them. Do they always hit all the expectations? No, of course not. They go, oh, I didn't think it was that important. Well, all of it is, even coming down to inviting your team members face to face rather than delegating it to somebody else or emailing them. That's a bad idea. You need to make sure they understand what they're getting into, and you've seen the whites of their eyes to say, okay, that's challenging. I've got a doctor's appointment, so I'm going to miss this, or okay, I can reschedule something, but yes, we want you there. You have to take the journey all the way through, or else you're not going to you're going to miss some things that put a risk on sustainability.
Do you find yourself stuck anywhere as a consultant right now, if at all?
Listen, I'm a competitive guy, right? We all want to grow and scale. What I've learned is I can train others to do what I do. And I have 3 other folks that can. But I think that my clients would prefer to have their own Kaizen ninja named Adam versus others. So I have had the opportunity to bring a couple of outside folks into these events to kind of create that credibility. I think I need to do more of that so that as growth happens, and it has, there's less worry about, hey, it's not Adam, but it's a reasonable facsimile of him. We're comfortable. They're using the same approach. If they needed Adam's help, they have a way to reach out to him. But yeah, so obviously can't be in 2 locations at once. So that's probably the biggest opportunity for Adam, is scaling well in such a way that others can follow the system as if it was me.
Okay. I was going through your website and I saw a quote there that I thought was interesting, struck me. It said, the most dangerous kind of waste is the waste we do not recognize. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I'll give you two avenues on that. The guy that wrote it is the guy that inspired me at the very beginning. Picked up a book in 1991, opened it up and said, holy crap, I've been doing this, but I didn't understand what I was doing. So Shigeo Shingo, so you got to give him a shout out. Here's what we're talking about. you do your job and you think everything's okay until somebody observes it and says, why are you walking 13 miles in a day to accomplish this when we could just put your stuff right where you can grab it immediately? So let me give you a very simple example of that. 2 weeks ago, I was with a very, very large company that has their own internal organization, but I get brought in by them to do some breakthrough stuff and some rapid stuff and get their teams excited. There was a quality test that every part had to go through that was far away from the operating line, and you had to wait for results before lowering risk on the next product I was making. The team got together, so it was about 175-foot travel per part off the line, and then wait X amount of hours for results. By the end of the week, we basically put that capability right on the line. It was then 4 feet of travel and immediate results. So instead of waiting hours, you had immediate answers. And the good point of that is, it's so much easier for that person to do the job. The actual technician that does the job was part of our team, so he knew for sure that that was way better. Now, here's the thing. They'd been running the other way for years, decades. That was just how they do work. So until you pull yourself away from things and observe, you don't realize what's in your way. So waste is a term, all the stuff the customer doesn't pay for, all the stuff that gets in your way of actually doing the work you're trying to accomplish. So waste is the Americanized term for it. There are 8 different categories of waste. That's kind of an industry thing. But transportation, movement, searching, delays, all those are different wastes. So again, they were running their business just fine, but then they realized if we ever want to grow capacity, which their strategic plan says they need to, we have to change something. So the good news was we found so much waste in the existing process that we could get rid of by redesigning it right on the line. They're now ready to double output. It's exciting, and we implemented the whole thing the same week, which no one thought was possible.
Finally, Adam, looking ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunity for sustainable process improvement over the next few years?
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing, sustainability. A lot of people talk about sustainability. You should do it, or it's hard. But nobody actually, I can't say nobody because I'm not aware of too many that show you exactly what to do to make your solution sustainable. So I think my goal is to share the system, the structure of the wheel of sustainability so that others aren't afraid of it and can take advantage of solving the problem once and for all and then move on to the next thing, putting in this system place to place to place. So these opportunities, talking with you today, writing the book, all those things, I'm just trying to share that. I don't get royalties for having discussions about it. I want everybody to know it because why do we have to keep fighting the same problems over and over? In my mission, and the reason why I designed and built the wheel of sustainability was that it just didn't seem right how much energy people put into solving problems just to have them resurface in the future. So if we can stop that, if I can do that in my small way, I feel like I'm fulfilling my mission.
Okay. And if it doesn't work out, it keeps you in business.
That ain't bad either. That ain't bad either. Yeah, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. The whole adventure of not just helping people, but finding the people to help, right? The whole marketing. I'm an engineer, industrial engineer. So marketing and sales, probably not our best thing. I'm learning a lot. I'm working with a marketing team. They're awesome. They certainly ask me questions that drive me a little batty because they're right and I have no clue. And they're always pushing me forward, just like I would be pushing my own teams. So I love what they're doing and I love learning. And that's probably what keeps me going at this point in my career.
An engineer and a ninja. All right.
Right.
Well, we're going to put all the links in the description for you. If people want to find out more about you, where do they go? Where should they see you?
Okay, so I have 2 LinkedIn pages. So I have Process Improvement Partners has a company page, and then Adam Lawrence. You can find me on LinkedIn. We have a website, pi-partners.com. check me out there. If you're really interested in the sustainability system in a very free way, I have created a 21-question sustainability assessment that is free, so this is good, on ScoreApp, and it's pi-partners.scoreapp.com. That'll take you straight to this assessment, and in less than 5 minutes, you can kind of figure out where your gaps are. And it actually is designed to give you some very specific ideas to improve your personal sustainability managing system.
Talking to the best consultants in their niche. Adam Lawrence, thank you so much today. We really appreciate you. Consulting leaders.
Hey, John, thank you for letting me play with you this day.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.